Most games take themselves too seriously. Those Mario games are they're too edgy. But you know the type of game I'm talking about. The one that tells a story of a traumatized man whose very soul has become ruined due to the amount of children he's left completely fatherless.
Jesus Christ!
He told me that when he was dying of pneumonia.
Jesus fuck!
I want to make it perfectly clear. I'm down for a game that makes me seriously reflect on my actions, but I'm also down to just turn my damn brain off. The singular brain cell I have in there is working overtime, and it needs a break from thinking about feelings and shit.
War never changes.
Such sad, very emotion, much dark, many profound.
So when I want a game where I don't have to question morality or have to figure out what the deeper message is, when I want to play a game with over-the-top, dumb fun action and nothing else, Doom Eternal is that game. It is the ultimate first-person shooter fantasy. It's all about ripping, tearing, and cutting out all the pretentious bullshit we're used to. You know, when a game needs to make a serious point, when it needs to be about a complex character, and just depicting overall boredom. But the point of Doom Eternal is this. There's a few crucial reasons why I make a shit-eating grin every time I play this masterpiece and not others though. A lot of games try to sell themselves on how morally gray they are. You're not all good, but you're also not all bad. You're just complicated. Call of Duty Modern Warfare actually wanted to make a morally gray statement about the cost of civilian casualties in war. It wanted to say that maybe in order to get the job done, in order to take the gloves off, so to speak, then it means having no room for hesitation and no room for empathy.
We get dirty, and the world stays clean. That's the mission.
The best parts of the game are the sections where you can't exactly tell who's an enemy and who's a civilian. These moments are where the gameplay actually brings what it's trying to say to the surface. Being in the heat of battle, trying not to die, while also trying not to commit war crimes is intense. Call of Duty underrated? Question mark? All of this might sound interesting, until you remember that you're playing a Call of Duty game. If you blatantly kill a civilian, you get a game over screen. And if you accidentally kill a civilian, you still get a game over screen. There isn't anything morally gray about this. That's the game's way of saying, you're not a war criminal, try again. Obviously, intentionally shooting civilians is bad, unless they're poor. Then it's an understandable outburst. But for the game to completely drop all subtlety about what is right and what is wrong is so one-sided and clearly trying to paint the player as this untouchable angel, even though at the end of the day, you're not even close to playing as a good person to begin with. You're just a madman looking for some kick-ass quickscopes and explosions. You bought a game about shooting people in foreign countries to blow off some steam, but for some reason the game needs to always reassure you that you're not a monster, you're just complicated. Doom Eternal doesn't really care about any of that shit. It doesn't have the same problems as Call of Duty because it's honest about what it is. Who are you fighting? Demons. What do they look like? Do I need to elaborate? There's some demons. Go kill them. This premise is bulletproof. It is so intentionally shallow that it leaves zero room for any pretensions. The game is obviously aware of how stupid its setup is, which is why it doesn't try to make a serious point, or humanize the demons you're reducing to atoms. There isn't a single moment that makes you say, am I in the wrong? Trying to critically analyze the story and themes of Doom Eternal is futile.
Be generous. Give your blood. Give all of your blood.
Blood?
For those of you who don't know what a glory kill is,
It makes me happy.
it's basically when you've got an enemy in a weakened state and you have the ability to do a finishing kill animation on them. If after 50 of these, you're still scratching your head, trying to understand what the point of Doom Eternal is, you never will. If you want to measure the level of subtlety in Doom Eternal, just look at the opening cutscene where there's a fucking pentagram burned into the surface of the earth. It's right up there with Legion for being a subtle masterpiece.
Can I just say that it is an honor for me, personally, to meet you?
Most game protagonists are already over the top when you think about it. They all rack up kill counts high enough to scare Stalin's record. Hell, some of them are even willing to gun down innocent civilians en masse, and somehow after all of that, they aren't completely emotionally broken. Hey honey, I'm home. Just got back from my daily human massacre. You do realize you married an actual insane person, right? Whether intentional or not, most of the time writers will brush off what their protagonists actually do. You know, that stuff. Surely you aren't playing as a genocidal lunatic that wants to blow everything up.
Who is to say?
So the easy fix for this problem is by giving that protagonist a tragic backstory. It's an easy way to extract some empathy from the player. He might have a rough exterior, but deep down he has the soul of an angel.
Fuck! I had a difficult childhood.
I get it, you want your protagonist to be somewhat relatable. You want them to have some kind of emotional trait that you can actually latch onto besides
Kill them all!
But the thing is, the
Kill them all!
trait actually works extremely well for video games. Games can be about anything, and they're the perfect medium for over-the-top non-stop action. The Doomslayer isn't compelling in a traditional sense. He doesn't have relatable traits for the player to latch onto, he doesn't have an arc of any kind, and the only words he speaks are, of course,
Kill them. Must kill them all. Rip and tear. Must kill them all.
He's compelling because of how one-dimensional he is. For how uninteresting the Slayer is as a dramatic character, I don't give a fuck about the lore, it's made up for by how aggressively stupid his motives are. His whole existence is devoted to rip and tear. He will chainsaw his way through baby demons. He will nuke a demon hospital. He will remove this demon's heart thing and then shove it back into its own mouth.
And it exploded.
But it's not just the premise or the protagonists that expertly go full retard. It's the gameplay that really ties it all together. First-person shooters are heavily reliant on being cover-based. You take some damage and then sit behind a rock until the bullets in your body stop hurting or something. At least I assume that's how the human body works. But this gameplay design is obsolete. When a big portion of my time playing a first-person shooter is devoted to sitting behind things waiting for the fun part to happen, you've lost me. I am not here to reenact the first scene of Saving Private Ryan. I don't want to feel sad or whatever about the horrors of war happening around me. I'm here to embrace the horror, and be the bullets flying through the flesh.
Dude, you have a problem.
Earlier in the video, I said that I like to play Doom Eternal because it allows me to turn my brain off, but that's not entirely true. The game does keep my brain from overheating by not trying to be about something bigger than what it actually is, but the gameplay is another story. Doom Eternal's gameplay philosophy is simple, really. Cocaine makes things faster, and therefore better. Constantly moving, constantly shooting, constantly saying the word constantly. Sprinting, reloading, aiming down sights, actual tactics.
Fuck that shit.
There's no time for dead weight. The Slayer is built like this, you're always sprinting. You don't need to reload, just chainsaw the ammo out if you want it. You don't need to aim down sights because the Slayer wasn't raised to be gay.
They're still men.
Yes, we're men. Men is what we are.
And as for tactics, well, the Slayer probably wouldn't even know what that word meant. The one and only tactic you require is being too angry to die. In Doom Eternal, hiding behind cover doesn't automatically solve your problems, because 1, the demons are always rushing you, giving you no time for breaks, and 2, the best way to get health back is by actively engaging the enemy and then glory killing them.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Keep killing if you want to live. On the surface, this gameplay loop might look like the player is acting like a chimp with a machine gun, incapable of slowing down. And don't worry.
It is.
But because of how much the game is throwing at you, you're actually constantly thinking about what your next move is gonna be. It's like speed chess, but with bullets and crack rocks sprinkled on top. You win by being the most over-the-top badass in the room. This gameplay is filled with so much dumb, over-the-top, moment-to-moment chaos, and it has zero tolerance for boredom. Chainsaw this guy, rip apart this guy, slice this guy, then jump, then grenade, then dash, then rocket launcher, then—
Stop it. Get some help.
If you haven't caught on by now, I love Doom Eternal. I love that its core premise is rooted in over-the-top action. I love that its story doesn't need to teach profound lessons. I love that its protagonist doesn't need to grow or change. I love that its gameplay doesn't need to devolve into an archaic shooter from 2,000 years ago. And what I love more than ever is that it stands as a testament to what games should strive for. Because in a medium where most games forget how to be fun, Doom Eternal punches me in the face to remind me that they still can be. Now, if you don't mind, I'm gonna go back to jerking off to the Doom the Dark Ages trailer again. Thanks for watching.
Over 10 times the bust.